Red vs. Blue Season 16 Episode 11 Sword Loser has officially released. So let me break it down for you. So we begin with Huggins informing the cosmic powers that she has spoken to the Shiznos. She believes that they can be reasoned with to stop the prophecy that they are supposedly set on. Atlas is not fond of this and he goes off to throw a temper tantrum. After causing Remnant to go out of whack, Kali Rama steps in to say that they should try a hand at some diplomacy, which is why she tried to kill them. Atlas eventually ends up agreeing that they should try and talk, which is also why he tried to kill them. Hey, when something doesn't work, just 180 the character, right? The two then go off to have sex. Eventually, everyone meets face to face, only to be thought of as genies. They ask for 3 wishes and Atlas complies. Now, imagine this. You haven't seen this episode, but you've watched all the other ones prior. If I asked you, what in all of the universe, anything and everything could be done? You ask for it and it could happen. If I ask you, what would Griff wish for? The answer is so obvious. Griff has clearly been working towards this one thing the entire season. You couldn't possibly mess up the one thing that has been the sole motivation for Griff's character. What would he wish for?
I wish for an energy sword just like Tucker's.
A sword. Griff has never mentioned a sword, ever. He's never talked about wanting one, he's never tried using Tucker's. I don't even know if he's ever uttered the word sword in the history of his character. But now, with any and all possibilities on the table, he wishes for a sword. Oh, but wait, things don't just end there. Tucker is apparently so dependent on wanting to be unique that he uses the second wish to get rid of the sword, only for Griff to wish it back again, thus using all 3 wishes. The amount of idiocracy that happened here isn't even funny. There was zero thought from every front this scene. Nothing they wished for had any sort of remote, yeah, that makes sense. It's one thing if you were to wish for something that you look at and think, this is useful from the character's perspective. It may be stupid, but in the context of said character, it would make sense. It would be like if Simmons wished for something that would make his work more efficient, or Sarge wishing for something like a rank. In the context of certain characters, the wish could have made sense and been funny. But with Griff, there was no sort of remote sense or logic, and the fact that there was no serious thought is the most upsetting. Anything, you could wish for anything. Immortality is on the table. And the name Church isn't even brought up once. Now, granted, I would have hated if Church was actually brought back, but the fact that there wasn't any sort of real talk makes what happened here so bad. Hell, Washington, you know, their friend who they saw got shot and as far as they're aware is still hospitalized. But no, why use a wish that could help a friend who saved your life more than a dozen times when you could have a huge dick and a sword? So the gods tell them that they need to gather the rest of the characters so they can actually start negotiating. They all return back to base and we get this conversation between Sister and Tucker. Sister lays it all out to Tucker as to how much of a narcissistic, egotistical, only cares about himself prick he is. She takes his biggest vulnerability and uses it against him. Now, here's the thing with this moment. It is simultaneously great while also being not great at all. So first, why is it good? Well, for the exact reasons you would think that it is. Sister told Tucker to his face why he's a terrible person, but it's for this exact reason that this scene doesn't work. This scene would have been great 4 to 6 seasons ago. Tucker is not that guy anymore. He's developed past this point. The Chorus trilogy was Tucker's arc. This is where he overcame these weaknesses and mindsets. He learned what it was like to be an actual leader. He led and he didn't tell everyone to kneel to him. He learned to care about people and value their lives other than his own. Tucker has developed as a character past this point, which is why this scene wasn't good. The writers undeveloped him so they could just do it again. Tucker is so unnecessarily a dick who only cares about himself for no good reason. The Tucker we've gotten this season is a very simplistic, bare-bones version of Season 1 Tucker. Even pre-Chorus trilogy Tucker had been showing signs of being an actual leader and taking charge. Even in Season 15, Tucker didn't have the biggest role, but he wasn't this. Of all the characters, which is all of them, Tucker was the only red or blue that has actually grown past his tropey self. Church would be the other one, but he's not here, leaving Tucker the most developed character of the bunch, which makes his character this season so upsetting. The only shining light to this all is the fact that Sister is also getting development and has been this entire season. She's had a constant personality through it all, and considering that she's had absolutely no development from the past, it'd have been really hard to fuck up developing her. So Sister is the shining light to it all, finally actually getting some development, but was it worth it? If you watch the behind the scenes clip of Jason and Becca talking about this season, you'll know that the concept they were delivered was actually a good one.
Tucker too. It really gives them a chance to bond over their vulnerabilities, and when I read that, I got really excited.
Yeah, two very similar characters bonding over their weaknesses is in concept a really good idea. But once again, and this was the bane of season 15, the execution needs to be there to follow up the idea. Having two characters bond is great, but you have to be aware of how Tucker has grown since. It feels like this season has just hit reset on Tucker's personality, and now this is the result. And now they very clearly have to follow through with this setup because we've gotten this far. So if you're looking to see Tucker grow from his past self once again, then congratulations, this season is for you. Now, this episode was arguably one of the worst ones this season so far. However, it wasn't all doom and gloom. The comedy that was coming from Atlas ended up getting a few chuckles out of me. The temper tantrum thing was the main thing I didn't like, but aside from that, the comedy from him was pretty damn good. That does not mean I'm warming up to the whole gods thing. Still don't like it, probably never will, but at least they can be comedically entertaining at times. But like everything that I've had to criticize this season with something good, there comes something equally as bad. You see, by now we've established that Joe likes to tell very meta jokes. We've also established that he just hands these jokes to characters that happen to be around, and that's exactly what happened this episode.
Don't you get enough, Dong? It's funny because she's a hussy.
Now, he's not wrong. That is something that the audience looks at and laughs because we know it's true. But that joke makes zero sense coming from him. He's never met Sister. The cosmic powers knew nothing about them until the prophecy began earlier this season. So why is he making a character personality joke when he doesn't know the character? It's because the jokes are written and handed off to whoever's in the scene to tell them. I feel that this is why people say that the comedy isn't landing. The jokes themselves can be funny, but hand them to the wrong character and the punchline isn't the same. This episode, while being a full-fledged filler, which is fine, somehow managed to undevelop Tucker, have Griff do something that he's shown no interest in, and 180 the cosmic powers attitude, all in a single episode. All of which were not good, and I would say this was arguably one of the worst episodes that we've gotten this season. So for now, that is going to do it for this video. Be sure to like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're interested in more content like this, consider becoming a sponsor over on Patreon. You get all the content early, and it really does help out the channel. Be sure to follow me on all social medias, and I'll see you in the next video.